It's the Marty Show. Hello and welcome to the Marty Show. Following in the footsteps of giants, Rick Veitch took over Swamp Thing right after Alan Moore's legendary run. He was actually handpicked by Alan Moore himself to be the next writer. Not only did he write it, but he also illustrated it. Did he fare as well as Alan Moore? Well, I wouldn't say so, but then again, not that many people do. But is it still a worthy follow-up and an interesting read? It certainly is. This release seems to have been overlooked since it came out months and months ago. Actually, book 2 is already out, but I strongly feel it deserves a proper review. Let's have a look at the trade paperback Swamp Thing by Rick Veitch, Book 1, Wild Things. So here it is, Swamp Thing by Rick Veitch, Book 1, written and drawn by Rick Veitch, inks by Alfredo Alcala, and colors by Tatiana Wood, who was the colorist on Moore's run as well. On the cover, original cover art for Swamp Thing number 69 with modern recoloring, and that always bothers me a little, but I've seen way worse. If we look at the spine, it's very nice, and it will look great with other Swamp Thing trades. And let's turn the book around. The book retails for $29.99 US and $39.99 Canada, but you can find it cheaper. And I mean now, if you're watching this video a few years after its release, who knows? Let's crack this book open. You can see the credits and the table of contents. And right away, one thing worth noting is that it contains Swamp Thing issues. But the book starts off with Hellblazer issues 4 and 5 by Jamie Delano and John Ridgway. And then you've got Swamp Thing 65 to 73. Let's look at the back. So Swamp Thing 65 to 73, Annual 2, and Secret Origins number 23, not in that particular order, but from what I gather, in the order it should be read. So here we go, Hellblazer, starring John Constantine, not Constantine, and that's what he says himself within these pages, actually. So it seems the movie and TV show appearances got it all wrong. This is all very nice stories and art, but one would be hard-pressed to see why these issues were included at all. Maybe book 2 and 3 might answer this question, but based on this particular reading experience, it feels a bit like a bit of padding, I would say. But thankfully, Hellblazer is a really fun read, so I won't hold it against them for including these issues here. It's just the title is Swamp Thing by Rick Veitch, so it's kind of a bit misleading, isn't it? Anyway, once we go past the Hellblazer stuff, which is very good in its own right, like look at the cover art here, it's really nice, and the stories are really cool, but where is Swamp Thing? He's nowhere to be found in there. But now, finally, we can move on to Rick Veitch's actual first issue. If you look, that's a very nice painted cover here, number 65. Swamp Thing diving into the green in this nice pre-Vertigo cover. Once we get into the Swamp Thing stuff, we realize Constantine plays a big part in this story arc. At least there is that. But where does it connect? So far, we have no clue. We finally catch up with Alec, or Swampy, and Abby, and the swamp itself. And that's the annual issue, which is kind of interesting in its own right. It contains DC's more obscure than not gorilla characters, except for Gorilla Grodd. It's all kind of fun, but I'm not sure what this has to do with Swamp Thing at all. Really cool artwork though, and somehow Swamp Thing appears here and there, but it's mostly about gorillas. And then we've got this panel here right at the end. That is, I won't get too much into it, but if you didn't notice, just go back and press pause. You'll probably know what I mean. Then we move on to issue 66 and a secret origin story right after it. This time it's a Floronic Man story involving Batman and then other Gotham villains. So yeah, it's a mess. That's the Floronic Man right here. It's a mess. It's all over the place. Here you can see the Gotham villains, including the Joker for a very, very short appearance, a cameo. And then a miracle happens right after some Solomon Grundy nonsense, although with very nice drawings again. The strange storyline involving Swamp Thing, Constantine, and the Parliament of Trees finally picks up. Things get really trippy and psychedelic, but still readable. And somehow this is where you realize this Rick Veitch guy is not only a good artist, but also a good writer. I'm a fan, so I already knew it. But if this was to be my first Veitch book, I would say it starts a bit rough. If Moore's run was all about the mystical and metaphysical, this run is more dreamlike and trippy. In fact, I really recommend you pick this up if you enjoyed the Moore run. I am looking forward to reading book 2, which is next up on my to-read list. But should you start with this particular run and skip the previous run, I would advise you against it. But then again, who knows, you might enjoy the dreamlike qualities of it and the cool artwork. Well, it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, just be warned. Well, that's about it for now. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks for watching.